Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. I am Deplorable Knitter, and on the other half of the screen is the wonderful Ann Pinkova. Hi Ann,
Hello.
and thanks for joining us. Sorry, this week got away from us. I think me more than Ann, but we kept going to record and we kept not recording. So hey, here we are, it's Saturday. We're still on time technically.
Ish.
More or less.
It's okay. We're good.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. I am outside because it's in the 80s, and Anne just looked out her window and mentioned that it had started snowing. So there you
Yes.
go.
And it was absolutely gorgeous this past week. It was fantastic. The sun was shining, the windows were open, most of the snow melted. After all of the blizzards, it's like, yay, we're thawing. And not so sure anymore.
Will it actually accumulate now, or are you guys past that?
I mean, it could. We've had fairly serious April snowfall before. And
Right.
I mean, some years it doesn't get truly warm until May. So,
Yeah. I mean, this heat wave we're having is abnormal for upstate New York, but like it's calling for snow next week, but it's going to be the kind of like it's going to be in the 40s and snowing, not like, oh, hey, we could still have a blizzard. It is New York, but
right.
you know.
Anything could still happen. So,
It could. But let's show off our yarn before we forget to get
yes,
talking.
I know. This is the problem of going live. Normally we do an introduction and laugh and then do our promo. So,
Yeah.
our episode is sponsored by Lynn, the lovely Lynn of Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, who is in the chat. Hi, Lynn.
Hey, Lynn.
Here, I grabbed the right yarn. And she, our lovely sponsor who creates beautiful yarn, the promo code for the month of April is FOOL20 PIK for 20% off your order at chickenladyfiberarts.com. And also, her advent calendars are out right now. And she put new options. So her theme this year is Greece. So there's options for just the yarn, and the stitch markers. And I believe the stitch markers are going to be handmade by somebody this year. Or if you only want the stitch markers, that is also an option.
Yep, there's lots of options, which is nice because, I think when we were talking with Neil, he's like, I don't want all that crap that they put in those things. I just want the yarn. I don't care about stitch
shut your
markers and
face,
motion.
Neil. Like, come on, everyone loves extra stuff.
I love it, but so that's funny. So yeah, you can check it out. You can get what suits you. So if you're like Neil and you're like, I have enough stitch markers, I don't really care about them, whatever. You don't have to get them. You can get just yarn, or you can get all the things or none of them. It's, totally flexible.
And yeah, and like I said, her promo code FOOL20 PIK for 20% off your order. And also when she has subscribed to her newsletter, because sometimes she has cool.
Yeah, she's before Anne continues, she's saying that some movie theaters are showing Grease because it's 45th anniversary. So you might want to find out if yours is. Get ready for the Advent.
Yeah, some movie theaters are showing the extended version of Return of the King today. Our theater isn't. I'm a little disappointed because it's the 20th anniversary of that. Sorry, totally distracted, but
I don't know what that is.
What? It's the third Lord of the Rings movie.
I'm only a dork for Harry Potter. We've talked about this extensively. Come on.
I know. I mean, it would be worth seeing that epic version on the screen, but the extended version is something like 3.5 hours. So can you imagine having to pee for that long? It'd be terrible. But Grease on the big screen would be pretty cool too, all the dance sequences and everything else. So
yeah, I know you're still trying to do the Chicken Lady thing, but way back in the day when Gone with the Wind came out, my grandmother went and saw it in the theater, and it cost a nickel. And during intermission, they really went out on the lawn of the movie theater and had a picnic lunch and then went inside and finished the movie. And I think that is just the sweetest thing ever, and everybody should do that.
That's amazing. I want a picnic in the middle.
Yeah, so you could totally go see the 3.5 hour movie, take a break in the middle, have a little picnic, and go back in and finish it. I mean, right?
Nice. Yeah.
Right?
But Anyways, finishing
Sorry.
out the Lynn promo, if you subscribe to her newsletter, and she gives you a free shipping code that can stack on her code with us. So make sure you subscribe. Appreciate it. She's got lots of mini skeins. We love Lynn. She's great. There we go. And after the video is finished, comment on it, and you can be entered for our giveaway of this beautiful one-of-a-kind colorway. And there's also this little guy that she sent along with it. A little tape measure thingy. Boop. It's adorable.
I know you said boop, but I thought you said poop, and that just was excellent.
Yeah,
sorry. My kids are at that age where everything's about poop. But yeah, Lynn does those free shipping codes. I think it's the 5th when there's a 5th Monday. So that's when you get on the watch for them. I mean, who doesn't love free? I'm a fan of free and discounted. It makes life exciting. So.
And Lynn says her lotion bars are in the shop.
Ooh, I love lotion bars. I have one in my purse. They're very good and they smell good. I think the one I really like is called Monkey Farts. See, my kids also thought that was funny because it was farts. But yeah, it was excellent. They're excellent. You should check them out. Yep.
There we go.
So do you want to show your knitting first, or shall I?
You can go ahead. I have a lot of stuff, actually. I'm surprisingly prepared.
I only have a couple. Well, I have a few. Okay, so this is just a quick preview. If you are a Patreon, you get this yarn color and a new pattern. And I'm not going to show it off too much, but this is specially dyed by Revolution Yarn.
Nice.
So that's pretty exciting. That's a new pattern. They'll be coming out at the beginning of May. And then I finished this baby hat. I haven't even posted it to Instagram yet because I finished it yesterday at co-op. And it's just a little tiny colorwork baby hat. It's very small. And my students are actually making this pattern. So I wrote that up. That'll be coming soon.
Nice.
And then this month, these are not things I made, but my mother has been just cranking out the baby hats. And this is a new pattern that's going to be coming out, I don't know, today, tomorrow. If you're participating in the knit along, you can message me for a code to get this pattern for, free if you're going to make it for the knit along this month. And it has sizes from micro preemie to regular preemie. Well, that's still a small preemie. A regular preemie to like regular baby hat sizes. So. Nice. And it's got these cute little loopies on the top because who doesn't love a little I-cord loop for their baby hats, right? So that's going to come out tomorrow. That's that little baby hat. I've been doing stuff. So, but if you want to get the preemie hat, message me. I'll give you a code. It'll be fun. Yeah, and that's what I have.
Nice.
That's it.
Well,
Lynn says her kid was a micro preemie, so yeah. Lynn, if you need to make any micro preemie hats, I got a pattern for them now. They're teeny tiny.
Aww.
Oh.
Well, I have a couple things that are redos from Knitting Wars, but I tend to think that Knitting Wars doesn't quite count for these episodes. So, anyways.
They're a little different.
They're a little. So yeah, I finished I believe I haven't. Yeah, we're still in the week after Easter. Sorry. So I finished my Lent doll.
And it's like, sorry. I don't know who I am or where I am.
Or what's going on
here? It is.
Why are we here? We're doing a live now. What is this? Anyways, finished my Lent shawl. It's beautiful. Whoa. But yeah, it is
lovely.
Quite cute.
Big. Holy moly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It's fantastic. So yes, that's finished.
And you need one of those if you're like going on a car trip and you're gonna like be somewhere where it's gonna be warm, but you might need a little something that could like double as a blanket in the car. Like
that's
I need to make one for the next time I go to Florida.
Yeah, on a car. Or it was like professional like, not professional, but it's random magazine advice for, the elegant lady on a train that, bring a big shawl with you, because then, it can be a pillow, it can be a blanket if you need it, and you always look très chic. Like, thank you, random magazine person.
I've never been called chic,
idea.
but
yeah.
And tomorrow's Orthodox Easter for our friends who haven't celebrated yet. So happy Easter to you guys.
Yeah, happy Easter. And and also, okay, so little chat about the colors. I don't know, like this last lace section with the purples and the greens, I love that. And then the previous one too, how it was white and purples. Like the greens and blues are, I don't know, they're very lovely and they kind of springy to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, shawl is finished, unless you're Orthodox and you're still knitting it, or you're behind. That's cool.
Either one is an acceptable excuse. So
I know, and it's so funny too that Devin, that she had a podcast out Easter Sunday, and it's like, yes, we are wearing probably stitch for stitch the same shawl, and it's a weird feeling. Like normally, if we're knitting the same pattern, it's not so exact.
Matchy.
Yeah.
Usually there's a little bit of variance, but that's okay.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's a cool project. But there's that. All of my lovely opal yarns from Anna Knitter came in, which I also showed off a little bit. But they're beautiful, and I feel very proud and dragonish about them. That, I don't know, they're just so pretty. All of them. Absolutely all of them.
You're feeling dragonish about them?
Yes, like I'm jealous over them. Like they're such wonderful treasures that I just
Okay. I was feeling confused, but I got you. Okay.
And then I just dropped one on the floor. Anyways, they're beautiful. They're lovely. Even though one slipped away. So yes, I'm excited about that. About working on all of those socks that I think it's going to be the summer of Van Gogh socks, unless I get very distracted, which is definitely, a thing. Yeah, smoggy.
It's something we do.
Yeah.
We get very distracted. I have so many good intentions and they just go right in the crapper most days. I won't even lie.
Well, and part of it is too, I know that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to knit myself all these socks, and I am going to be very pleased with myself for having all of these nerdy Van Gogh socks, and then my feet won't freeze through the winter. So it's, a win-win situation. But I had, so I was digging through my stuff and I realized that I had this pair of socks that I had forgotten ages ago. That is Kia's yarn from Cedar Hill Farms. And as far as I know, this is at least the last self-striping sock yarn she did, maybe even the first. I don't know if it was her.
I remember that color. I loved it.
Her gnome for Christmas socks. So yeah, I have a marker right here. So it was just like half of a foot, and it's this little chocolate frog stitch marker. It's pretty cute.
Oh, cool.
But anyways, so I've been knitting on this week because I'm not quite sure what to do with what patterns to use. And I really like the contrasting toes and heels for socks. So like planning that many socks, I'm kind of spoiled for choice. And then, when you have so much to do, you don't know where to start, kind of a thing, where right. I know that I'll just have to choose one and dive in. But, while I'm still pondering that, I can plain knit these stripy socks and get that done. So I'm really excited about these.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, so that's cool. I finished, get another Ripaverse hat. So that's nice.
Cool.
And
I just realized I lost my stitch marker somewhere. I hate when that happens. No. Sorry.
Dive.
Okay.
That's right. And, I also finished a quarter of that big Quinn's quilt.
Oh, a whole quarter?
A whole quarter.
You're almost on track for the year. Keep going.
I know, because you told me, and that totally cursed me. You're like, oh yeah, well, it's a big blanket, but if it's in quarters and you do it one for every 3 months, that's doable. And I'm like, crap. No, I gotta do one every 3 months. But anyways, it is.
I was helping.
Yeah, you were helping just fine. Yeah, that's great. And the thing is like, okay, at the end, it is a painful amount of stitches because here, this is 1/2 of my quarter, and then I put yarn in so you could see how long the other half is.
Wow.
So it's, let's see, I doubled the stitches. So it's 50 stitches per. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2. So yeah, that's 600 stitches.
Are you planning on like making a tent for a small family to live in when you're done, or what's the plan with this thing?
My first
rent it.
No, the first blanket I ever made was just stupidly big and way too thin because I didn't know how gauge worked at that time. So,
okay.
So I have that. Nothing fears me now, nothing. And then
Anne's gonna make it into an Airbnb.
I know.
Come live in my tent.
What a lovely quilt this is. But yeah, okay, because it increases as you go, they're like, yeah, it's going to be great. And you're like, and I finished a section and I finished another section. And when you get to the end, when before you're like, if I'm really working hard at it, it'll be a couple days per section or, not very much when you have the beginning sections. And then it's just like, this is taking forever.
Yeah, I give you credit. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. So that's cool.
Well, and the thing is that I'm like, this will be a proper, like, real. Here. I'm lost in my own blanket. Anyways, that this will be like a proper size blanket.
How big is it really going to be? Like, if you put it on you now, is it like a lap blanket?
Yeah, this is definitely, a lap blanket triangle, but I think if I worked it out right, it will fit a queen size bed.
Okay. So it's not as big as I'm thinking it looks.
No,
what you're telling me.
It's a lot of stitches. It's
a
lot of stitches, but it's not. It's an endeavor, but it's not. It's all garter stitch, It is what it is. But yeah, and so flip that to the side, and I started on the next one. So
cool.
Yeah, on my next quarter. So seeing that it's April 15th, then to be 15 days into my second quarter and to have started, then that's all. Though this blanket also has edge pieces. So if I follow your prescription of 1 quarter per 3 months, and then next year in January I'll be stitching the edge things if I'm that consistent, which I'm not. So
you never know, it may happen. And I like that. I'm like, I'll never do it, but Anne, this is what you should do,
and that works perfectly for your schedule. I'm like, what? And it's also funny because I've said before that when I pulled out all the yarn, I'm like, yeah, I have so much yarn, and then I'm making this, so I'm like, I'm not sure I have enough yarn to finish this. And I've been, I've been kind of scrappy and doing it and everything else. So, it'll be fine. And if I have to go out and buy yarn, that's not the worst thing in the world. Or if I, grab some fingering yarn or something and double it and mix and match, and it'll be good.
It will be good.
Anyways. But yeah,
cool.
That's what I've been working on. So, plain quilt knitting and some procrastination socks and, bribery rip-reverse hats. It's pretty great.
It all sounds a lot of fun. I was doing a Latvian braid and my yarn is so twisted that I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to untwist it to do the other half. So are you done with your knitting? Because there's been a few comments about beer since I'm drinking this Michelob Ultra.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually wanted to talk about this a little bit. I didn't bring it on to talk about it. I was just like, I'm going to have some. So I watched a Charlie Kirk video about Anheuser-Busch. And I have two reasons I'm not boycotting them. I don't like Dylan Mulvaney. I think what they did was shit, okay? Like, let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
But my father has worked for an Anheuser-Busch distributor for 35 years. So everybody boycotting Anheuser-Busch is going to hurt my dad and the job he's worked at forever. So that's a personal reason why I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Everybody has that. And it's, as a distributor, their company had no idea anything that was going on. They don't have any control over it. So they just are the people who put the beer in the stores locally. But the other thing that I'm still drinking Bud is because Charlie Kirk broke it down. And I think what they need to do is to make some sort of apology, because it was a crappy move. You know, they weren't reading their base. That's part of life, you know. But when you go back and look at like where their money goes and stuff, they have put money towards helping JD Vance try to get elected. They were putting money towards Pelosi being removed, and different things. And when you break it all down, they've given to more Republican causes than most businesses do. And only like a very tiny amount of money went to Democrats. And so I think they had a misstep. I think on the whole, the company is better than that. And so I'm going to continue to drink it personally for my personal reasons. But I just think that it's interesting because I am huge with voting with your dollar. I personally think that, like, I don't like what Lola Bean does. I say I'm never going to shop with her. That's your prerogative. But also, the whole thing has changed my mind just a little bit, because as somebody who, my father is way down on the food chain, still works for the company though in an indirect way, and watching how it's affected him over the past couple weeks, it's been really crazy. And so now I have a little bit more grace for people, I think, because I understand.
I mean, I'm on kind of the other side of that. First off, I'm not a beer drinker, so I say that doesn't matter. And also, good on them for supporting Republican causes, and nothing against your dad personally. But also, they've been kind of doing their advertising department. If you say that their conservative values are there, then at least their advertising department for a long time has been doing the, you know, un-American song and dance. The no, we're cool and we're woke. So I say screw them. But that is my and I know they did do like a little simpering apology thing. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. And I'm like,
yeah, no, I still think that there needs to be more accountability. The woman who kind of ran the thing, she's the kind of woman, if I ran across her in public, I'd want to punch her in the face after listening to her talk. Just because she's like so much like, oh, you know, sales have been decreasing and we don't want that frat boy image and whatever. Out of the whole thing, I think the funniest thing that's come out of this is I forgot about the commercials in the 90s or whatever, or the early 2000s, where they're like, you know, be a man, or the manly man commercials, and now all the parodies of them. God, it's been so funny. But
I personally liked the picture of her photoshopped on the horse's head, but
I didn't see that one. But I think that it's a misstep, and I think they're going to have to do something. I really do. And the other thing is, like I said, my father has worked for distributors, so he knows people who work directly for Anheuser-Busch, and he's heard things about how they aren't pleased with the decision. They're going to do something about it. So we'll see what they do. I don't particularly know enough about it to speak specifically about what they said, but I've heard that it wasn't well received through most of the company. So It is what it is. But, you know, I don't know if anybody who watches us also watches Brett Cooper. Do you ever watch her or no?
Not really.
No.
I mean,
I think she's funny. Yeah, I think she's funny. And she was talking about how before Dylan transitioned and he was just like really flamboyant, and she thought he was funny. And I think it's tragic that he had to change his sex to feel like he could make it, because he was really funny. And sometimes even the stuff he does now is pretty funny. I just don't
Well,
understand why all of a sudden he's the face of everything. Like, why is he on Nike?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, okay, if it was just a guy doing a comedy bit, I'd be
mhm.
like, okay, this is funny. But the fact that he is, hanging out with Jeffrey Marsh
Ugh,
is obviously
he is
marketing
a
to children.
creeper.
And Dylan Mulvaney is too. It's like that. And also that he's meeting with the White House, and it's not
Yeah,
just a, oh, well, this is fun. It's a, no, you have to take me seriously. And you
right.
have to, you cannot use certain words around me. You cannot use certain words to describe that. You have to toe the ideological line. You can't just be like, okay, that's funny. Even that.
Yeah, because, and this is the problem. Everybody's gotten so polarized, and we like just tell jokes to tell jokes. They're funny. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
get over this whole. And the one thing that really rubs me wrong about Dylan Mulvaney is the fact that he talks about it like, oh, I'm girlhood and stuff. Like, something is wrong inside that person's brain that he thinks he's a girl, not just like okay, say you're a woman, but you're not a girl. A
Right.
girl is somebody who has not matured into adulthood, which he has. So like, it's just weird. I mean, also you can be a girl, but the way he talks about girlhood, it doesn't seem like, oh, I'm just being girly. It's more of a prepubescent or
Yeah.
early teenage kind of mindset, which is
Yeah.
bizarre to me.
Calling lady parts a Barbie pouch. Okay, that's a line. That's a, you know.
I hadn't heard that one. That's
Oh,
horrible.
yes. Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's
That was
no,
funny.
when he was talking about tampons, and I'm like, ooh, buddy, you're being really creepy here.
No, no, that Barbie nothing. No, go away.
Please stop.
Anyway,
But
I have issues with that dude. And also, I don't know why he was running around in a Nike sports bra. Like, ew, go away. I don't know what you're even doing.
mhm, it's weird.
Ugh,
But
it's all
like
weird.
like I said, if this was a late night show sketch, and okay, like the video of him as Eloise, particularly creepy. Again, because it was him cosplaying as a young girl with the young girl's voice in the background. Little
Hmm.
audio file of that was weird.
Yeah,
But again, if this was a specific adult audience thing and there was a joke at the end, and if this was on a late night comedy show, you'd be like, okay, there's a setup, there's a joke, there's a reason, haha, it's funny. And then that's done because, again, it's a joke and you don't have to take it seriously. But that he is marketing to children is not
yeah.
cool.
That's not cool. And like, what is so special about him? Like, I that's the one thing I don't get. Like, why is everybody like obsessed with him? He got a party for his 365th day of womanhood. I have never gotten a party for surviving a year in my life. What makes him special?
I know. And not
There have
only
been
that,
some party hard years. Come on, man. I could have used
no,
one.
but okay, with the Bud Light cans, and he's sitting there giggling about how it's March Madness, but also he's dressed like Audrey Hepburn and he's popping Bud Lights. Like
Yeah.
that happens ever.
No, you know what though? If all the controversy wasn't going around it, I actually thought that the March Madness thing was kind of funny. If it was delivered as a comedian, like, I didn't know what all this March stuff was. I just thought it was crazy. Like, it was kind of funny if it wasn't so obnoxiously like, I'm a ditz because I'm a woman.
Mhm.
Women like sports, women like beer. They don't have to. Ugh.
Yeah.
He should just stuck with being a gay comedian.
Mhm.
But hey, that's my opinion. He makes me cringe. Yeah, no. Diana says he makes me cringe. He seems like a creeper. I would never let him let my yeah, I would never let my children near him. So I agree with him with that. And also, I saw this thing on Instagram. I'm on Instagram too much, and it was like, if you had to leave your 3-year-old alone in a room of drag queens or in a room of straight men, I would choose the drag queens every day. Um, I'm not leaving my 3-year-old alone in a room full of men, whether or not they choose to cross dress. That's just weird. What situation would I ever be in where that would happen?
And be like, I'm just
And
going to
they're
leave
all
my
still
children
men.
alone with strangers. Why?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, a room of any strangers, I would not leave them with, because even some of the nicest people could be creepers. But people are just weird nowadays, man.
Weird thing to say. But anyways,
Anyway,
speaking of weird and children, Lego is, I know,
what is up with Lego?
Yeah, that Lego is doing the AB or the A to Z of LGBT, and many of, like, there was a video of someone walking into a Lego store and they have the little, trans intersectionality flag, and yeah, and they were kind of being confronted about that, but I don't know, it's weird.
Well,
the best line I heard of it, it was Az from Heel versus Babyface. He was on FNT, but that it was that they're changing imagination for ideology. That Lego used to be about, you can build anything you can imagine. Want to build a ship? Want to build that? Hey, do you want to build our plan for a ship and then change it yourself later, or just take the whole thing apart and make your own stuff? You can do anything you like. You can buy any little pieces you like and switch them out for whatever, and you can have your own story and you can have your own world. But instead of that, it's like, hello, would you like people? It's like, we are telling you that people in your own world should be gay. And like, what if they were already? It would have been your own imagination. Or, let the kids do whatever the kids want to do. Like,
yeah. That's the part that really is the worst about it. Is just like, let kids be kids. I think that's one of the best things about homeschooling, is that they're not getting these outside influences. I don't mean to interrupt your Lego story. Can I tell a story quick?
Go.
So I was talking to one of their teachers, who I didn't know, but happens to be a pretty conservative person. And she was telling me about a student that she had like 5 years ago. She had one student that was gay. Totally fine. It happens, like, she loved him, thought he was great. She said this year she has 5 students in one class that are lesbians. And she's like, I don't understand how this happened in 5 years. Like, I've been teaching for like 20 years. This is like, doesn't anybody think it's weird that everybody's like gay and lesbian and bi now? Because they're pushing it. These kids, they need to let them be kids.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, it is. No, it is.
It bugs me to no end.
It is an ideological push. It is, combination of, wouldn't it be cool to be this? And this is a cool person thing. And don't you feel weird and different? Don't you want to be accepted by the group of weird and different people? Join gay today. Yeah, that it's
gay today. And you should start writing slogans.
Oh, it's perfect. Put it on a t-shirt. Oh, but Chicken Lady was right. Everyone was bulimic and anorexic in the 80s. That there is, I think the term is social contagion, that, with, bulimia and anorexia, there's a couple of news articles saying like, ooh, anorexia is on the rise. And then it really was on the rise because suddenly kids were hearing about it. And you get that with, things like kids cutting themselves, like, ooh, it must be such a good idea. And, all sorts of things. And I don't know, that there's a lot of that. Remember the old days in media when we'd be like, oh, murder mysteries are getting raunchy. That's bad because, like that is okay, we're going off the rails, people. But it bothers me if I'm watching a murder mystery or something and they're like, oh man, they found him in the bondage dungeon. And I'm like, okay, what? Why? I'm not interested. Why is this a thing? And then you see, well, that's very common. It's everywhere. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's not. It really is not. Stop trying to make this a thing. You're being weird. You're being weird on Maine. Just stop it. But it's that kind of a thing. Like, oh yeah, everyone knows about this. I'm like, Nah.
But do they really is the question.
But do they really? And
Although, if you haven't read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, you really should.
no, I haven't.
There is bondage judging in there, but that whole story is weird. So it works. Like, it's okay.
Sometimes. Oh, okay. Speaking of weird stories, again, off the rails. Okay, so I got this. It was an Instagram ad, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I should have clicked it, but that also is a mistake. But I'm like, is this AstroTurf or are they serious? It was an ad for a web page that was, and the thing they were like, oh, keep bad books out of schools. It was an ad about keeping Assassination Classroom out of schools. Okay, I don't know if anybody is familiar with this. It's a manga, okay? And the teacher is evil. That's what the story is about. And then the kids then have to kill it, okay? So this is the story. It's like, okay, main push for keeping, books, especially graphic novels, out of school is because they are graphic. They are sexually graphic in a way to teach kids that things are, again, to teach kids that, that weird sexual stuff is okay. And they're graphically picturing weird sexual stuff. Okay, that's the thing. Assassination Classroom is, it's like pulp novels, okay? That pulp novels that there's always a beautiful woman in distress, and yeah, they're a little racy and they're exciting. Assassination Classroom is racy because it makes for an exciting story. Okay,
Right.
that there's danger, there's excitement, their thing. It's like, okay, you can say, if a librarian looked at that and they said, yeah, we're not going to have that in our school. Cool. I get it. But it's not advocating violence any more than the Matrix is. And you can say, you're looking at that like, yeah, I don't want my kids reading that, and be like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine if you don't want your kids reading it. But putting it in the same category, of things, that's like, okay, there's ideological, again, very sexual stuff that is being pushed in schools. Absolutely keep it out. But also there's the smut novel that teenagers have always been reading. Okay. Mm-hmm. And again, you might want to keep that out of your teenagers' hands, but I would put a different level on them. And it's like, okay, yes, there's things that are violent and things that perhaps kids shouldn't see. And again, keep that out of your school library. Sure. But if you're starting a campaign against Assassination Classroom, I'm like, you've lost the plot. You don't. It's like, okay, guys, either you're being silly, or this is somebody being silly on purpose to distract you from the main thing, which is the ideological push of kids. To rant on, sorry, again, it was Mark Stein saying something like, wow, they're teaching gay sex in schools? When I was in a boys' school, you just had to learn that on your own time.
I think that's what it is to an extent. Kids are going to talk. They're going to learn things from their friends. It's a normal part of growing up. Mm-hmm. Some of the conversations I had when I was probably like 14 were completely inappropriate. Right. But that's what you do. But
yeah, kids I think can be deviant jerks on their own time, okay? And again,
they don't need help for one.
But it happens.
But like, it's just a different level now. The stuff that's available to them. Like, my oldest is going to be 10 soon. And so I'm in the library and I'm like, they love this series and that series, and what can you recommend? And the librarian recommended a series. So I went and looked at it and started looking at the book, and the main character uses they, them pronouns. And I'm like, well, we're not going to be reading this because as the parent, that is my job. I hate it that it's available, but like, there's some stuff like that one book that goes around all the time. I don't know what it's called, with the really super graphic pictures. Mm-hmm. I don't think that should be in schools.
Right.
I don't think it should be banned from libraries, though. But I also think that parents have a right to know what their kids are getting and reading and dealing with. Right. So.
Yeah, definitely. And
well, I want to say something to Jean quick. Graphic novels are all the rage. I don't think that it's completely because students aren't being taught to read, though. I had a very reluctant reader, would not read the chapter books. Every time I gave them a chapter book, they were like, there's so many words on this page, I can't read this, it is overwhelming. And so by giving them the graphic novels, it's still a lot of words, and a lot of them were above the grade level. It's just that the way it was presented made it a lot easier to get into without being like, oh my god, the whole page is full of words.
Mm-hmm.
And so probably to an extent that is true, but also there are kids like mine that, like, you give them a chapter book and they're like, but there's no pictures in here. Like,
well,
so anyway.
No, and I don't know.
I'm sorry, Anne, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. And I would say, yeah, there is a certain amount of illiteracy, but also if someone is truly illiterate, I don't think they can get along well in a comic book either.
No. So. And my kid was 7, I think, and would not read a book higher than like a picture book, would not do it. But then they met a kid at the playground that was reading Dogman, and so now we've read all the Dogman and Captain Underpants and Cat Kid, and like,
right.
But seeing another kid, the kid had this book at the playground, so they were like, it must be a really good book if they brought it with them, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And today they went somewhere with their dad, and we bought the series of illustrated Harry Potter books. They're huge. They're giant. They're beautiful. Mm-hmm. And they were going to do something. Can I bring this with me? Absolutely. Have fun. Because, yeah. So anyway, that's my rant about stories. Sorry.
The big illustrated ones, and they are just fantastic. And also the Mina Lima people who do the graphic design for Harry Potter. Okay, so they put out the first 2, and they're illustrated, but they're also pop-up books. They're like,
I've seen those.
Yeah, I have the first 2, and they're coming out with The Prisoner of Azkaban, which I'm really excited about. But also I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, as this story goes, the books get bigger. Like, what, you're gonna have like a dictionary of a pop-up book after a while.
So
you're gonna divide it into 2 parts. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So sometime you and I, Anne, are gonna have to get together, and you're gonna have to Zoom with us so that you can show the kids that, because they will die. They think their illustrated ones are cool, and then they're going to see pop-up books, and they're going to be like, why didn't you buy me those?
The illustrated ones are cool, but I also like that between the 2 of them, the art style is very different. So it's not just like, oh, here's an illustrated version. Oh, but the pop-up book is like the same. That no, it's it is a different graphic style.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But anyway. So
it's not like a total, I mean, it's the same book essentially, but it's not a total repeat between the 2.
Yep. But seriously, I just wanted to say that about graphic novels, because my kid is just a very visual person, and so seeing all the words is like, ugh. But we give them the Harry Potter, that's completely wall-to-wall pictures. It's still the whole Harry Potter book. Read the whole thing, had no trouble with it. It's just, I'm glad that there's different stuff. When I was a kid, it was, if you didn't read chapter books or X-Men comics, you were screwed. That's like what you had to choose from. So
right.
I'm glad that there's more now, but you got to be careful. Got to make sure that there's no they, them heroes, because then you'll be having that conversation.
Right.
But anyway, that was my rant about that.
There you go.
Wow. Sorry. It's Saturday afternoon. I can't help it.
That's okay. Trying to think. I don't know if you want to have a little international news.
Yeah, do some news.
Okay. Well,
I'm a fan.
So Biden is in Ireland, which is like the biggest diss. He said that he can't make it for Charles's coronation, which is on May 6th, but he can hop over to Ireland and do some bad shtick. And especially since it's all about woohoo, the Windsor Framework, which said before totally undercuts Brexit. And okay, Biden hates Brexit. And not only that, but he's been pals with IRA members for years. He is not a lover of England. And okay, what a jerk. But there was a really funny line that he had that okay, so he took a selfie.
Was it coherent?
Oh. Okay, it was It was funny in that he messed it up, but it was
okay.
also funny in that the mess up was hilarious. Anyways, but it's a joke that needs an explanation. So he first off he took a selfie with an alleged IRA leader and former Sinn Féin person. Also, he did a visit of Northern Ireland, which again was a big screw you to Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland has said time and time again that no, they want to be a part of the United Kingdom, not a part of Ireland. And everyone is basically saying, yeah, whatever, what you want doesn't matter, which is pretty consistent with, yeah, whatever, England, your Brexit vote doesn't matter, and everything else.
Amy Smith said she thought he wasn't invited to the coronation. Do you know?
From what I heard, he was invited, but said he wouldn't.
Okay.
So, anyways.
I don't know, so I'm asking.
No, but okay, so the thing is that so Biden was talking to this guy whose brother was a rugby player, and he said, wow, you were really great against the black and tans. Okay, so he meant the All Blacks, which is the New Zealand rugby team. They're very good. But the black and tans is the special force of former military that they recruited for police during the Irish Troubles. So, like he's using his rugby skills to go beat up some coppers.
Hey, it might work.
Anyways.
When you say black and tan, I personally think of what Guinness and whatever the other beer is, where you layer them and drink that. So at least you know more than I do.
Hey, that works. But anyways, and in totally different news, that no longer is the Swedish government no longer recommending the COVID vaccines, but they're now say, use it at your own risk, buddy. You're not getting any liability if you want more of these.
Interesting.
Quite so. I don't know. NYPD has robot dogs now.
I heard about that. Okay. So speaking of AI and robots and shit.
Yeah.
Elon Musk was talking to Tucker Carlson the other day, and he's like, people need to stop messing with this. It's not going to end well. And I've been married to the dude who loves Fear Factory, right? Fear Factory is a metal band, if you don't know. They're very, the titles of their albums are things like Fight the Machine and stuff. And for 10 years, my husband has been telling me that we don't have to worry about World War. We have to worry about AI. And now all this AI stuff is happening. And I'm like, Elon Musk just said you got to be scared of it. He's like, I've been telling you.
And I'm like, Papa Elon,
he's vindicated.
Still put the Pong chips in the monkey's brains. What were you thinking?
Well, Elon has his own issues. I was just reading an article that for 4 years, he thought this woman that he was dating was a figment of his imagination. She was like a bot or something. So the dude has issues. I'm not saying, but I believe him when it comes to some of this stuff. I mean,
yeah. Well,
because he's got some knowledge on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's a high functioning guy. He keeps on. Yeah, him with a BBC journalist was pretty funny.
It was, and for people who didn't see it, he the guy was like, "Oh, there's been some really hateful stuff on Twitter, blah blah blah," and Elon's like, "So what was it?" The guy's like, "Oh, well, I haven't seen it in a couple weeks," and he's like, "Well, can't you give me an example?" And the guy's like, "Well,"
yeah,
it was really funny.
Tell me what you saw.
Tell me what you saw. I will help you with it. And the guy was like, "Well," he just couldn't even make something up. It was funny. Mm-hmm. Elon will be right all along, probably. So,
well, he says a lot of stuff.
Rise of the Machines. If you guys want to know more about it, I would suggest some Fear Factory. You might get some insight into it.
I'm old-fashioned. I just like Terminator 2.
The Terminator movies are still an example of it. My husband and I watch those, and he's like, "Look at this. Look at this. This is what's going to happen." And I'm like, "Oh, God.
Not again."
I love him, but he is a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Even more than I am. He needs my tinfoil hat.
I don't know. I gotta say, I watch, again, the thing of sitting around watching old movies. And by old, I mean not very old, just slightly old when they're still good. I saw Independence Day for the first time a couple of nights ago. I don't know how I missed it, but I'm sitting there like, this is a nigh on perfect sci-fi movie. And maybe I wouldn't have thought that 5 years ago. But what an excellent film. It's got everybody in it.
It is a great film, and God, that came out in what, 90 something? So I remember watching it when I was a very impressionable teen, and I
And another
thought it
great
was great.
movie
And
another great movie for the big screen too.
yeah, and
I
I unfortunately
like
had a
all of the nations of the world waited around for America to bomb Houston first and then figure out how to kill the aliens. That was pretty great.
that's how it should go, I suppose. But yeah, no. I remember watching that as a early teen, so Chicken Lady's not seen it. Go see it.
It was really good. Again, I don't know how I missed it before, but it was great. It's got Jeff
And Elon
Goldblum in
told the
it,
BBC.
Will Smith,
Yeah,
Adam Baldwin. I'm like, I know that he got
Yeah.
canceled for being conservative, but I'm like, I miss Adam Baldwin in random crap. He's such a good actor. Or maybe just very handsome. Sometimes it's difficult, but no, he's great.
It's hard to tell. No, I had a crush on Jeff Goldblum in that movie, and then later on in life, I saw The Fly, and now I can never unsee that. So it is what it is.
I haven't seen The Fly, so I'll keep myself.
Don't. It's a weird movie. It's another one of those experimental gone wrong. Don't do it.
Okay.
Keep it. That is considered a crime in some parts of the world. So anyway, what else have we missed, Dan? What other horrible news is there?
I mean, just the normal crap. The IRS went after Matt Taibbi while he was in Congress. So that's not intimidation or anything, talking about government collusion with Twitter. And the same government sends its tax department to raid your house while you're testifying about problems with the government. Super cool. I mean, the Trump indictment that the DOJ passed on it twice and said there wasn't enough there. And also the fact that nobody has been accused of this crime they invented for Trump ever.
I was watching a video before we got on about somebody was out in the streets asking people what Trump was being charged with, and they were a bunch of, teenage liberals that had no idea. And the one girl was like, all the crimes. And he was like, but do you know which one? And she's like, just staring at him and blinking.
Like,
because it's not a crime. Nobody knows what's going on.
And it's like everybody keeps saying that he needs to be arrested. Well, that's great. What for? What's substantiated? It's kind of the idea of like, well, it doesn't matter. Obviously, he's a jerk. Like, can't actually send somebody to jail on hearsay, even if it's the guy you don't like.
Yeah, guess what? Well, you just have to deal with people you don't like. That's kind of how life is, and that's okay.
That is,
it makes you stronger. You should do it.
Oh, and also that Biden totally knew about the Mar-a-Lago raid, which we all knew. Okay, the press secretary going out there and being like, oh, wow, he just didn't know. I mean, he heard it in the papers, same as you, which is what they say about Obama all the time, and be such a lie. They're like, oh, I only just heard about this. Yeah, you didn't. Or
maybe he did, because maybe they're just a bunch of idiots. But I think that they're smarter than that.
Or maybe somebody potentially more important than Biden. The Oval Office, let's say, the Oval Office knew about this beforehand, whether it was necessary for Biden to know is another thought entirely.
Yeah. But back to the Trump thing quick. So at first he had a Trump appointed judge, and then like a couple hours later it got switched to an Obama appointed judge who donated money to Biden. And I don't know how judge stuff works, but that seems like a conflict of interest if the guy who's going to hear the case against Trump supported Biden financially. Don't you think?
If they're like, oh, no, not this guy, you're like, I don't know. There's a lot of conflicts of interest in either direction. If they're saying, no, someone Trump appointed shouldn't be the one who tries him. If they're saying like, no, the guy who financially supported the other guy. It's stupid.
Yeah.
The
Wouldn't
stupid.
it be nice if we got somebody who was maybe just like not interested either way?
Mhm.
That would be fine with me.
Yeah.
Just a judge. Our judge is supposed to be impartial. Yeah.
But
Chicken Lady's asking about that kid who released the stuff. I tried to find information about it. I couldn't find a whole lot about him. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to talk about it next week because I just don't know the answer. The kid who released the secret documents, idiot or hero? I'm not certain yet. I haven't figured out what was going on. Do you have any thoughts, Anne?
Well, look, there's like 5 million people in America who have a high class security clearance. If you have that many people with that much security, and your stupid stuff is going to happen. Like we're not secure. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So, kid aside, I don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, we're not tight when it comes to security.
Yeah, regardless of what they try to tell you. So,
when Biden came into office and the adults are in the room. No, they're not. No.
Oh man. So what else do we know, friend?
But yeah, that comment about more Rumble about released Twitter files. Definitely, there's a lot going on there. And lots of actual government collusion in social media, and a lot of what is it that they called it in England? The nudge, that the mental nudge towards things, when if you're on your phone all day and all of the news sources and the quote trusted names and all of them are pushing you in one direction, it's more likely you're going to go that direction. And there's a lot of that going on Twitter. And not only that, but which accounts are punished for saying what things, and
Right.
what people are shut down, and what are people erased entirely from the platform. It's all scary stuff.
Yep. I think that you got to look at who's not allowed to talk. That tells you all you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Though at the same time, I know that there's some people out there that are like, oh man, if they ban it, it must be the good stuff. And then you look at what the quote good stuff is and you're like, guys, no.
How about
I'm not
we
saying
just go back to teaching critical thinking?
Well,
wouldn't that be an idea? But anyway, sorry, Anne.
That's fine.
Any other international news?
Again, just the regular crap. There is a bit of knitting specific news though that is kind of a tragedy, that Kimberly Miller of Driftwood Fiber Arts died in a car crash this past week. Yeah. So the shop is temporarily closed. I don't know if her daughter is going to carry on with it, but at least taking a little time after her mom's death. Yeah,
that's too bad.
Mm-hmm. There was another car crash this week though, but I forgot. There was another knitting.
There was another yarn dyer, wasn't it? Or was it as a designer? I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, another knitting person, from what I had heard, they weren't followed by many people I knew, so it's hard to pin down who they were exactly. There was something else I was going to say about the whole knitting thing. Oh, I just saw an email, a post about Lady Dye Yarns has been distributing PDF email patterns again.
Oh.
So like now there's a question of like, does she have the rights to them? Did she pay for them? Why is she mailing out patterns? It's interesting. We're going to have to keep our eyes on that.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And then there's still some Lola Bean controversy. Somebody from the Demon Trolls, I think it's a Demon Troll moderator maybe, was talking about it on Twitter, how they can't get about how like Lola Bean's a bully, but they can't get people to talk on record. So because they can't get two verified sources, they can't actually post about it in Demon Trolls.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting. Why are people so scared to talk about it?
Right. And yeah, I read that post too. And she was talking about like, that she spoke directly to Adela, and Adela took that very antagonistically, that it wasn't just a, hey, I heard about these concerns. Will you answer my questions? And it was kind of clear that she wanted to start a fight so she could post about it later and make herself the victim.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the charming business owner. That's definitely how you do customer service.
Yeah. I mean, Lynn, maybe you should start talking down to people more often. Perhaps it will help you get more sales.
In fact, Lynn, how about
No,
this?
I'm kidding. Lynn is the best.
Yeah. It's like, Lynn, how you're really, polite and helpful, and, you get things out on time and quickly and dye stuff up. Okay, take that entire business model, throw it right out the window. I want you to be as rude to everyone as possible. And in fact, they owe you. And
yeah. Everything is somebody else's fault.
Right.
She said, not in my nature. No, we know that. We're just teasing. But like, I just can't imagine that people are like, wow, what a businesswoman. I want to give her $100,000 because her skills are just beyond the pale. Just her customer service and the way she speaks to people. I mean, who wouldn't want to support that?
Yeah. Well, and okay, so you sent me the article where it was a Business Insider article about how she paid for Meta Verified because of evil racist attacks. Okay, I read the article. The article really wasn't about her. The entire thing was an ad for Meta. I'm like, wow, is Meta paying her bill if she shills for them? That's what it sounded like. It wasn't.
It sure did.
But I had to, because people were so horrible, and there were people doing like fake giveaways and stuff. But it was a step-by-step of how to sign up for Meta and what you need to do for Meta to buy this service. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, money.
And I really liked how
this article works.
Right. And I liked how the article was like, oh, to protect me against racists. But there was nothing like solid in there about how it was helping her. We talked about how to help her with the giveaway scams and stuff. But that was, there was nothing about like, I'm sorry, if you get the check mark, it's not going to help you if people call you names. Mm-hmm. Either way, it just is what it is. And I guess Lynn does have an excuse. So her orders are going to be shipping late because she's got a big zit. So I'm sorry to hear that, Lynn. Thoughts and prayers. And I hope that clears up soon.
Put some Windex on it. It'll be great.
I love that movie.
But anyways, yeah, it's like, okay, if people are being rude to you online, okay, that bummer, but that happens. If you're assuming that scam bots are attacking you because they're racist, I mean, it's not impossible, but also
I didn't know scam bots could be racist.
I
mean, I guess that's part of the AI thing. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I'll ask my husband. Since he's got like a bead on that.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And Lynn said done, so maybe she put some Windex on it. I don't know.
There you go. Perfect.
And if y'all haven't seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, go do that when we're off, because that will make you smile. Probably. Allegedly. So
anyways, we just hit past the hour mark. Hour and 4.
So. Yeah. So what do you want to do, lady? You got any more pressing things that need to be talked about?
Well, I know that you don't want to go longer than an hour today.
I know, but my family's not home yet. So I just thought that, if there was anything else you felt that needed to be said, I got a little more time.
Well, there you go. I don't know. I had a lot of notes this week, but some of them are just whatever. So.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff's been going on, but it's like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about all of it. And some of it's kind of the news is so weird. Like, if you don't talk about it within like 3 days, people have forgotten. Isn't it like bizarre?
It is. It is. I gotta drag out the big picture of the story. Anyways, in retrospect, big picture, we're run by idiots, and some of it's our fault. Not all of it. A bit.
Yep. Yep. I don't know, man. So go check out my new pattern. I'm gonna have 2 come out tomorrow. That shawl I've been wearing a lot and the pre-made hat. I've had them written. I've had them ready, but have I put them out? These things happen. How is the baby shower going? The baby shower's going good. People, don't forget, we're doing the make-along, the April showers make-along. I know you might be in places like me where it feels like it's August because it's so hot out, but it's still just April, and we're doing teeny tiny baby hats. So do that. Join. That's what I know. So I guess that's good. Yeah, Morgan, make some baby items. If you message me, I'll give you a code for a free hat pattern. Whoop, whoop. You just got to put it up with the hashtag so other people know about it. Please show what you've been working on. I did show, we did show what we were working on at the beginning. So if you want to see it, oh, maybe this one that I'm knitting right this second. I was working on this like a month ago when we were doing a episode. It's my Latvian braid hat. It's going to come out soonish. I'm not entirely certain when, but it will. So that's what I know, guys. I think Anne's told us most of what she knows. So
there you go.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Remember to check out Lynn.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And she actually puts your orders in on time. It's amazing. Yeah. Get her advent calendar. Buy beautiful yarn. Code Fool20 PIK.
Fool20 PIK. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you later.
All right. See you then, guys. Bye.
All right. Bye.